In May 2021, Andrew Teal publishes, in collaboration with Eurobooks, his new work, entitled Feather, Brush and Longtail. Today, we're happy to welcome and interview the author in Conoscere TV. Hi, Andrew. Thank you for being connected with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Nice to meet you again.
We're very curious to deepen your new publication. What is Feather, Brush and Longtail about?
Well, the book itself is about, it's written from a fox's perspective, and it's about a threat that came from rats, which are known locally as longtails, that were taking over the habitat of the foxes. So the foxes started to fight back, but they needed help. So what the fox did, he realised that he'd been chosen to be part of an elite group of animals that would fight back against the longtails. And the story is about how the fox, whose name is Ermine, how Ermine realises he's been chosen as a bigger. That's the group of the animals that are the elite animals that help fight the threat. But he finds out that he's been chosen as a bigger by a series of events that happen in his life. And then he's called upon by the other biggers to actually combat the threat posed by the longtails. The story's set in a small wooded area near where I live and where I've grown up. So a lot of the references to landmarks are actually around this area. The other animals that are involved are mostly birds. Well, they are the birds, and each bird has a special gift, as everybody does. Every person and every living being has a special gift. But I've focused on the gifts that these birds have and how they use these gifts to actually start to fight back against the longtails, the rats that threaten their well-being, in fact, threaten their lives. And Ermine and some of the biggers from the local copse, the local wooded area, travel up to Scotland because they realise that the threat is far too great for them to fight alone. So they travel up to Scotland to ask the greatest bigger for help, which is the golden eagle. And the golden eagle agrees. The golden eagle's name is Nestor, and the golden eagle agrees to travel back down to the copse to the wooded area in Yorkshire to help the animals fight against the longtails. But in the story, it's a realization that from the fox, from Ermine's point of view, that other animals can communicate with him, and he's never realized this before. And the reason they communicate with him to let him know that there's a threat and that he needs to do something about it is because he's a chosen one. He's a chosen one.
Okay. Listen, considering the subject, the message of the book, what's the best public of readers? Is there a target reader, or is it a book for everyone to read?
I think it's a book for everyone, certainly a book for everyone to read and enjoy. It's written in a simple style. It's written through the eyes of the fox. But I also think that it might enable people to learn a little bit more about what's going on around them. The stories where people see kestrels hovering on the motorway, at the side of the motorway where they're driving to whatever destination, and they'll see the kestrel almost motionless in the sky, hovering, and not give it a second thought. But in the book, it explains that the kestrel, one of the gifts that the kestrel's given is the ability to hover, and how unique and fantastic that skill is. And it enables people to maybe look twice and think more about the characters in the book, and learn a little bit more, because there's the kestrel, there's the buzzard, there's the barn owl, the wise barn owl, who, again, all these animals possess gifts unique to them. So it would be, so to go back to your question, I think it would be targeted at everybody to read it, but it is a little bit of a fantasy book. Obviously, animals talking to each other is a little bit of fantasy, but the reality is that the setting of where the battle takes place is a local area, and in the book it references something that happened in a small fishing village on the east coast of Yorkshire, that Flamborough, and that actually happened. There was I think it's 2009. There was a massive influx of longtails in the village, and the village had to kind of think of a way in which they could combat the invasion of rats. The rats were going in people's houses and various places, and they were running down the road. So within the book, there are elements that have actually happened. There's references to Lofthouse Colliery, which was a working mine up until 1973. So there are things in the book that are fact, or if you like, fact.
Very
but
interesting. Very
the majority
interesting.
is obviously, the story is fake fantasy.
We wish you very good luck with this book, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you. Me too.
Feather, Brush, and Longtail is now available in bookstores and online platforms, a publication by Eurobooks.